Hello everyone, this is iRod over here. This is my wife's bike. It's a specialized Mika. We bought it probably about 5-6 years ago. Yeah, probably about 6 years ago. So this bike original was a mountain bike. We bought it for riding on the trails here in Georgia. We have a lot of trails because we have a lot of woods, a lot of places to ride on trails. So original we bought this mountain bike, but eventually my wife didn't like to go to a trails that much, and what I did was last week I pulled it from the garage. It was hanging on the garage, and then it actually kept a lot of dust and a lot of pollen and a lot of things. So I pulled it down today. I watched it a little bit, put some soap in it and then cleaned it pretty well. And last week also what I did was I replaced the tires. This one, because it was a mountain bike, had like really wide tire, and now I replaced it for this more like a street tire. So they are like 26 by 1.5 or 150, whatever you want to call it. And this one have like a disc brakes. It's a manual disc brakes. So it got like the crank. It's more like a mountain bike crank. It's not made for a street. So eventually what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace that crank for a more like a commute or street crank that probably will have the cock a lot bigger, so that way I can ride down. I can ride it more smooth, and then my wife will like it. So my next step is to replace these handles right here. These handles, they're not comfortable at all. They're cheap. Those are the ones that came with the bike. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy one of those wider handles back here where you can rest your palm and it doesn't hurt right here, this joint right here when you move your hand. You got really cheap components, but hey, it was actually a cheap bike, so it works pretty well. The only thing once in a while is I have to adjust it because you lose all the adjustment pretty quick, and then I have to keep adjusting and adjusting. But well, that's part of the thing when you buy like a cheap bike with cheap components. The other thing is that I replaced already because my wife, she's not slimmer. She got some curve on her body. So this is not the original saddle. The original saddle was more like a we can call it like a racing profile. It's more narrow in the back. It was like a slimmer. So this one's more. I bought this on performance bicycle. This is Forte. This saddle is more for women. It's wider in the back, so that way women can feel more comfortable to sit on it. It got like a little a ventilation hole in there where you can breathe when you are riding the bike. Well, I mean, women, it doesn't breathe from down there, but you know what I'm saying. So it can get cooler, more your private areas. So it's not a bad bicycle. Also, I bought the tires at Performance Bicycle. They are a Forte. Also, they are one of the cheapest tires, so you can see that they are not like a high-end street tire or a high-end a commute tire. So they are like, I bought it at Performance Bicycle for $12 each. So you can see that they are not that expensive. So they are really cheap tires. But hey, my wife doesn't use this bike that often, so once in a while she will use it. So it's not worth it to spend a lot of money on some tires that this bike is gonna be. It's not gonna be used that much. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to adjust all the rear derailleur. That one of the cock is jumping when you trying to switch gears. It jumps out and probably needs some adjustment, and put some oil on those components too. So here it is. It's a nice bike for I'm trying to make it for like a street riding. Eventually I'm going to probably in the future change the front the fork, because this is a suspension fork. When you're riding on the street and you're trying to, you know, stand up to pedal, you feel like your bike is bouncing back and forth, so you will lose a lot of momentum in climbing a hill. So yeah, eventually I'm going to replace it. If we're not going to use it anymore for bike trails, we're going to use it for like a street, you know, bike. Probably I'm going to replace that eventually, but not at this point. So again, this is a Specialized Mika, one of the cheapest bike that Specialized have, but it's a good bike for like a street or commute or stuff like that.